Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to participate in our quarterly Info Bite sponsored by Quest's Equality and Inclusion Council and produced by your employee resource groups. We currently have 5 active ERGs working to create a safe space for Quest employees to discuss matters pertaining to members of their community, and they're supported by incredible allies and leadership at Quest. Quest Colors, Women at Quest, and Quest Pride have all been working together to give you an inside look into the lives of a few women at Quest. We'll be focusing on how they empower and invest in themselves in and out of the office, and equally as important, how they invest and empower one another or other women in their lives. But before we get to the topic at hand, I'd like to take a moment for you to just meet our panel. Catherine?
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Catherine Soto. I am a resource manager, and I have around 5 years and a half at Quest. And I'm from Panama City, so I speak Spanish as well.
Hey everyone, I am Erica Lentz. I am part of the inside sales team here in Austin, Texas, and I've been with Quest for about 3.5 years.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosa Naranjo. I've been at Quest for about 3 years and as an order management senior associate here in Panama. And I'm also the coordinator's officer for Women at Quest.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rukmini Devakar. I work as the HR Business Partner Senior Advisor. I've been with Quest for close to 2 years now, and I'm based out of Bangalore, India. Just like Rosa, I'm also one of the officers. I chair the Women at Quest ERG, and I co-chair the Quest Colors ERG.
Wonderful. And my name is Joseph Parks. I am the chair of Quest Pride. I'm also on the MPM Inside team based in Austin with Erica. We get to work with each other every day. And I'm a very strong ally for Women at Quest. I love the ERG, and anything I can do to be a part of it, it is my honor. So on behalf of the Equality and Inclusion Council, I just want to thank you all for being able to be here today and share your thoughts and your stories with all of our global employees. So to start off, I'd love to hear from you as a group on, how you think companies can invest and empower women and how you've really done that for yourselves. So why don't we start with you, Catherine?
Sure. I really think when it's regarding investment, that is not only about money, because usually we associate, I'm going to invest in myself, that everything needs to be involving money, but not necessarily is like that. In my case, I do like to invest in time, quality time with myself, pampering myself. And let's say I will, well, of course, like doing some things about protecting my own energy, protecting or being aware of what information I am exposed to. For example, the social media, the news. There are some toxic stuff that it's better to stay far from it. And also, using some stones for the energy, trying to work out, eating in a balanced way, and spending quality time with your loved one. That is a very good investment from the time that you can do for yourself.
Wonderful. What about you, Erica?
I like to invest in myself by really just being outside, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's getting some vitamin D, sitting by the pool here in Austin, Texas. It's sunny and warm often. Also learning new things. This weekend, I got a new embroidery kit for beginners. Never done it before, but I was like, let's try it. Let's try something new. And I think always learning is a great way to invest in yourself. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Definitely. I do agree with what Catherine and Erica's just said. It's all about investing in yourself first so you can invest in other women or anybody else around you. So once you have yourself packed down, either it's eating well, going outside like Erica mentioned, or doing your rechargeable energy, inner time, reading, just spending time with the loved ones like Catherine said previously as well. That moment that you invest in yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically helps you first to get yourself invested so you can invest in others. It's like a domino effect. So I agree completely on that. And how the company can invest as well is basically just, acknowledging those women within the company, their accomplishments, their attributes, putting out their congratulations, a pat on the back. Those kind of things actually are a good ways to invest in women in the company as well.
Great.
I think it kind of recharges your batteries, right? With all that we're all talking, like invest in yourself, like all list of things that we do. And I think most important, I believe that we are in charge of our lives. And of course, nobody else. We are like in the driving seat, right? For me, like most of you are saying, I love to invest myself in continuous learning because I think that helps you be consistent, be committed, and it all like I've always said, first fill your cup because that's very important. It should be like it's full and it's brimming, it's overflowing, and that's when you have the power to empower others. And I always believe that we should also be each other's cheerleaders because we're talking of how organization can also invest in us. It's by giving these thriving, positive work environments for each of us to grow. And I think that kind of gives us and creates a safe space for all of us to grow, right? And like we've always said, empowered women empower each other. And I think that's one vibe I think we all four have been talking about, like a vicious cycle and create that positive space. I was recently reading a quote by Indra Nooyi. She is the ex or former CEO of PepsiCo. And she said this, please help others rise. Greatness comes from a position, but from helping build the future, not your position. We have an obligation to pull others up, right? It's like each of us have that responsibility to give each other that space, have each other's back. I think it's so beautiful.
Oh, I love that. And that's actually a perfect transition, Rukmini. I'd love to hear from the group on, how you have found yourself investing or empowering other women, or of course, how other women have invested in you or empowered you. Why don't we start with Erica this time?
Yeah, kind of like Rukmini said, I think it's important to be others' cheerleaders. Um, I always like to notice other people's successes outside of the office and inside of the office, and be in their corner and know that I'm always here cheering them on. We have coffee talk every morning here in the Austin office, and that's a great time for us to just get to know each other on a more personal level, because we're all here in the office. Of course, we know each other on a professional level, but getting to know each other outside of just what you see every day. A woman I work with is doing a fundraiser for her daughter's school, and it's this big event she's putting on. So I know she's doing that. So I circle back around. Hey, how's it going? Just kind of being their cheerleader in the office and outside of the office. I think that goes a long way in investing in women. And as well, my manager and director here in the office are both women. So they have invested in me and have taken a chance on me through promotions and different work achievements. So that's how I feel like I've been invested in, and I invest in them as well.
Absolutely. What about you, Rosa?
Well, I go back to the domino effect, and just like Erica mentioned, it's kind of like a circle. Once you keep that good energy in that circle, you can transmit it to anybody else. It's easily transmitted. So I have empowered myself by just observing other people. I do have this, in one of my previous job, my boss, she was a woman, and I always looked up to her because she was so strong. She was always having this, it looked like she had everything well organized. She could never make a mistake. And I always said to myself, I want to be like her. You know, I want to be in that position one day because she makes it look so easy. And at the same time, she empowered me. She's like, you did this well, do it better. If this is done here, never stop. Continue until there's no stopping, there's no end. So I was empowered by her. And I felt that if she empowered me, I can empower others.
Yeah, I completely agree with both. And it's so amazing that effect because if we put it together, what we were talking before about investing time in yourself for being your best version, taking care of yourself, being mind aware, and being, with with a lot of health, you can be good to share with others. So your enthusiasm, your daily shares can impact others, even if you're not aware of that. The simple fact that you get into the office with a good morning, everyone, how is your day? That is like a really good entrance point to get to know the rest of the group and being able to be a cheerleader. There are some days that we won't be like, bright and shine. But we can have somebody in our back being our cheerleader, and that is really good because what Rosa mentioned, and it's so empowering, to help others even if we're aware of not. It's a very good way to share.
Wow. I think like all of you have been mentioning, it's time, it's always time to celebrate each other's achievements and your own achievement. Because I think it kind of brings in a synergy, an energy, a vibe. And I think one of the perfect tools is the I'm Remarkable workshops that I've been doing. And I think I think one of the lucky or privileged, I should say, to have gotten the opportunity to become an I'm Remarkable facilitator and have had the support here from leadership to bring it to all of you here at Quest. I think that experience, for those of you who attended this workshop, you know how beautiful that experience is, right? Like you're saying, point out success, point out other successes, celebrate it. And this workshop does that. It helps you, it empowers you to celebrate your success, your achievements, because it is important. It is important to give that to yourself. It is, it kind of re energizes you. If you've lost that kind of power within you, it kind of gives you that power back. And I think this is one way how we are able to help the women in our circle take that leap, right? Some of them could probably think that I'm going to take the back seat. It's okay. I'm doing my work. I'm just going to just finish it and just go. But like we've all been saying, it's a vicious cycle, and we need to give that push, right? That's that little push that's required. And like all of you have been saying, we grow where we have lovely opportunity and when we have a positive and thriving environment. When we become cheerleaders, we celebrate not only our achievements but everyone's achievements. And such investments in ourselves would take us a step closer in reducing these gaps. It could be the corporate struggles or provide an opportunity for a seat at the table, or break that glass ceiling, or look past that mirror self, break that imposter syndrome, so many other things. But I think this is that one little thing that we can do for each other.
Absolutely. And, I think with diversity, equality, inclusion across the board, whether it's gender or any other of the communities that we have at Quest, one of the most important things is allyship. How can we support each other, whether it be men being allies to women or, of course, women being allies to each other? I'd love to hear from the group on maybe stories in which you have found an ally in someone, or any advice you might have for how people can be an ally. Why don't we start with you, Rosa?
Sure. Well, I do have a story about a previous boss who became an ally without I even knowing it. Uh, I used to just, work, but I never received this type of feedback from him directly, which is something that in my mind I always wanted to hear. So there was this one email one day that it was kind of like a backlash for me. And before I even reply, he's like, wait, don't respond. And I'm like, okay. He's like, he stood up for me through the email very professionally. She put out there, you know, it's not her fault. She did her job. And if you have any issues, come to me.
Mm,
And that for me was like, oh, I feel like, wow, he has my back. He did this for me. And I appreciate it so bad. And until this day, I feel that empowerment from that email. It has come to me and I carried it with me. And I feel that I can do the same for somebody else. So with, he just acknowledged it. He always knew that I was doing a good job, but maybe he was just not that direct, or, the way they communicate is different. So for me, that was it. It was like million words in one action. So he became an ally for me there, and I understood what is to have your back by somebody else. I believe that men can definitely learn more about women empowerment. They can read more about what's celebrated, the themes for every year, listen to the woman around you. Look for the cues, the visual cues, just reach out. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, nice email. Hey, you look great today. Your friends, your mom, coworkers, any woman around you, just by small little acknowledgments and awareness, like Rickman mentioned, is the way you can be an ally to a woman around.
What about you, Catherine?
Well, I have definitely experienced, some allyship with both men. But in this case, I would like to give an advice, and this is very personal. It may work for for some people, for some others, it may not work that much. But following Rosa's example, my advice is to communicate clearly. We are all very different, regardless of the gender. And the best way to create a good allyship and relationship, regardless if it's personal or professional, is communicating clearly. What are your needs? What are your expectations? Because since we're so different, we cannot guess what are you expecting from me. So maybe I have a colleague that is applying for a new role, and you want to support this colleague, and instead of being asking every week or not asking, just speak clearly. Hey, I need this from you, because we can help each other in so many different ways. And we can, reassure, we can give positive feedback, or feedback that can be good for improvement. But if we don't talk, if we don't say it, it can create a barrier. As Rosa's example, like, she was doing a great job and her boss recognized it, but it wasn't speaking out loud. So there is like a gap. And if this incident hadn't happened, situation could be different. And I think is a very valuable tool that we all can have, and we can introduce in our daily life, with little things, and we are learning, and then it becomes part of our daily life.
Yeah, I'm hearing three great questions that allies can ask, whether it women or anybody really, any colleague. I think the good advice would be, like, what do you want? What do you need? Those are different things. And
Yeah.
then how can I help you? How can I help you get what you want or what you need?
Yeah, definitely.
Erica, what about you?
I go back to just being curious, which ties in everything you guys were saying. Just be curious, ask questions. You don't have to dig into someone's personal life. Depending on your comfort level, it can be as simple as, how are you? How was your weekend? I know your parents were visiting. How was that? Anything. Just be curious, ask questions, and a lot can stem from just the simplicity of a question. You never know what kind of connections can come from that.
I think we've given a great, well-rounded advice. I think when it comes from the start that Rosa said, feedback, that's important. Encouragement, that's important. Communicate clearly, be curious. And I would add to this by saying, very, very first thing you need to do is be aware. Self-awareness is very important. Because I think from being self-aware of what you're doing, what environment are you in, what kind of colleagues you have in your team, how can you navigate, right? And we're talking of questions. I think asking the right questions is what we need to know about. I know previously we've spoken a lot in our different info bites about stereotypes, biases, microaggressions. We kind of just push it under the carpet, right? We just don't like, oh, what would the other person feel or what would the other person think? So when we're talking of asking questions or communicate clearly, I think the first step for us is be aware and then probably reach out to that colleague, keeping in mind from where that person is coming or their background, their upbringing, and probably ask the questions. Try and understand, hey, I'm here. I want to help you. But how can I? I just don't want to kind of, sound wrong or, don't not give the right support. Tear those assumptions down. And I think when we do this, it kind of pushes us to the next level of, by being there for each other, like we've been saying. And moreover, all of this, I think when you want to ask questions or you want to communicate clearly, I think you need to have that inclination first, right? Being empathetic, being sensitive, being mindful, being aware. So I think your very, very first step is self-awareness. And that's when you begin to ask questions, you become curious, you try and clearly communicate. And I think at the end, you kind of are able to speak up, be an advocate, ask the right questions, and just create a beautiful work environment.
Yeah, and for me, as an ally to women myself, I would say that the advice I would give other men would be echoing what you all have said, which is really to listen and take real time to listen. Like actually take, if you ask someone a question or want to learn about this, really take the time to invest and listen. And then I think the more advanced level of allyship that, I'm personally trying to get to is not only asking questions and listening, but then taking action. If we do see something that is not right, um, being courageous enough to step up and say something, if something is not fair or appropriate and in whatever the context would be or whatever the social group may be, to be able to, stand your ground and get behind the group that you're being an ally to. So I'd love to take a minute to, hear about any of your mentors or people in the past or currently who inspire you, and that can be, at Quest or beyond. Why don't we start with Catherine?
Sure. And this is a really good question because there's been so many people that had been my mentors and my teachers, direct or indirect. I have learned very, very important lessons from people that they didn't even know that they were teaching me an important lesson. Uh, and I think that, from my past jobs and in my current job, I have mentors that I'm so grateful that they have taken their time to teach me, to help me grow up as a person, as a professional, help me, guiding my path, and to clear the blocks and this fog that doesn't let you see with clarity what is the next step to take. Um, and I'm so grateful. And I usually say it out loud, thank you so much. But there are some other peoples that, there are situations that can be difficult that you need to learn from a mistake or from a tough situation. And those people have teach me a lesson. And now that I'm saying it, I recognize that sometimes we don't we're not grateful to them in the moment, maybe because the situation wasn't, as smooth, as happy as in other moments. But are important lessons that I believe are the base, are the foundation from, the person that we are in this moment. And another type of, inspiring people. I would like to say that I felt so inspired that here at Quest we have women on leadership roles. For me that is so inspiring
Mm,
because I see, or what it shows me is that on the top, on the leadership position, there could be a share for me because there are also women that are standing in front and had important roles for this company, and that really inspires me. And in a way that I cannot describe, just for the fact that they are there doing good leadership roles. That is very inspiring for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like anytime we get to see Luann or Carolyn speaking at an event or an all hands, or those are great moments where you see that there
Yeah.
are amazing women at the table of leadership. What about you, Erica?
So I have two women I want to touch on. The first is a woman in leadership, my manager, Valerie. Um, I look up to her so much. She's incredible. One thing she does that really sticks out to me at the beginning of every year, we go over my goals, personally and professionally. And throughout the year, she checks in. Hey, are you on progress to hitting your goals? Hey, this was your goal. Where are you? What can I do to help? What do you need from me?
Mm.
She's always really, really great at asking what she can do to help instead of always just do this, do that. Micromanaging, she really gives us free reign to run our business how we want. And she's there supporting and cheering us on in the background and fills in the holes where she can. So she's incredible. I love her so much. I'm so thankful for her. And my grandma is wonderful as well. She's 87. She looks like she's 20. She was the first women's athletic director at her school district back home in Indiana. And she just is amazing. She remembers every single detail. I get emotional talking about it. She always remembers every single detail. I tell her, I call her if I'm having a bad day, and she's always like, what's there to be sad about? Be happy. Life is so great. And she's really great at pointing out the little things that I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that because I'm so invested in this one thing that happened today that doesn't even matter. So she's just really inspiring, and I always go back to cheerleader, but she's the biggest cheerleader in my life, of course, with Val, Valerie, and my grandma. So thank
Oh,
you.
I love that. Yeah, it's nice how our mentors and people that inspire us, they can give us perspective on things, to sort of step outside
Yes.
and look in. What about you, Rosa?
Well, I'm so inspired as well. With Erica mentioned about her grandma, which is one of my mentors too in my life. But I'll talk first about my previous boss that I talked to previously, that I looked up to her. She was probably the strongest mentor I had in my life. Up to this day, I still have communications with her, and she's always checking up on me. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? What have you learned? Why are you doing that? And then right now she's just living her life. She's not working. She's like, I'm done with corporate, but she always inspires me and keeps me moving. And she's like, when you need anything, just let me know. Ask me questions. I could be in Egypt and you can definitely just text me. And she always does. Every time I reach out to her, she responds immediately. And that makes me feel that, that was probably the biggest example that I could have in my life professionally and personally, but just like Erica mentioned, my grandma, um, she hasn't accomplished a big professional career, but her personality was the biggest impact in my childhood. So just watching her do everything at the same time, probably, um, finding fix for everything, a solution for everything, an answer for everything, just making it look like it's so easy and that there should not be any stress about it was for me like, wow, okay. And without even knowing it, I was doing it. I was actually copying her. And now I'm teaching that to my children. So for me, she's my biggest mentor, my best friend. Just like Eric, I reach out to her every time I have a bad day. I don't even have to speak. She just sees me. She's like, what's wrong? So, she's my venting moment. So those are my two biggest mentors and all the women around me. So
Mm, love it.
I think we're surrounded by inspiring women, right? All around, anywhere and everywhere. And I think it goes through eras and decades where they're spreading that same energy, that same vibe. And that's what we need to kind of take it up to the next generation or where we work or at home. So I think for me personally, um, in my current profession, it's been over a decade that I've been in the HR profession. And I think one of my greatest mentors and a very, very inspiring woman has been my first job's manager. And she's wow, she's just a great source of inspiration for me because the first job creates a foundation, right? And it's like you're so intimidated, what you need to do, what you need to learn. And, I was handling everything end to end, whether talent acquisition, talent management, everything. So, and I was just new into it, just fresh from college and just, there. And then she had my back. She's like, it's okay, jump into it. You go wrong, you go wrong. And you go right, it's okay. You've learned the lesson, so move on. Right. So I think that kind of gave me such a beautiful foundation. And even till today, it keeps me going. And I'll never forget what she always tells me, goes back to what Erica said. She said, remain a lifelong student. Don't lose the curiosity. She kind of wrote it for me on my last day, on a piece of paper saying these words, and it's kind of edged on my, in my head always saying, just be there, and that's going to take you a long, long way. And I think after my mother, it's her that I look upon to because it's just so beautiful and it's well rounded, like all of us are saying, right? Professional and personal. They kind of look at your goals and they see where you're going, what you're doing, and like we've been saying throughout, they have your back. They know. They know we need to be there for each other and create a beautiful environment where all of us can thrive and grow.
Mm. Well, I know that you four inspire me every day. I've loved getting to work on this with all of you. And thank you so much for your perspectives around this topic. And I know it's going to make everybody appreciate all the women in our lives more. And thank you, everyone who took time out of your day to explore this topic with us today. If you're interested in joining Quest Colors, Women at Quest, Quest Pride, Quest Minds, or Parents at Quest, please email eicouncil@quest.com, or you can also just ping me and Teams directly, and we can direct you to the leadership of the ERGs. Next quarter, our next bite is going to be centered around Pride Month. Until then, thank you so much for participating. Have a great rest of your quarter. And after this recording is over, please stay on because we're going to have an opportunity to have a questions and answers with the panel live. Thank you.